think it is around 10:30. If that clock is right. 10:30, time to start. So at least we're here. It's a good thing. Wednesday, the 7th of January. Maybe this year is going to get better and better from here, right? No.
Yes, absolutely.
So sit however's comfortable. I'm going to do a chair today just because I feel like it. If you're on the floor, use whatever you need to be comfortable the way you're sitting. Blocks, blankets, whatever feels good at home too. If anybody's out there and you can hear me, you might shoot me just a little quick message just so I know that the microphone's working okay. So take your time, close your eyes. Start to feel your breath very easily coming in and going out so that you don't feel like you're forcing anything. Accepting your breaths in and out. Letting yourself feel your face start to relax all around your mouth, all around your eyes. And if you can come into 2 or 3 deeper 3-part breaths, inhaling into the belly, into your ribs, all the way up into your chest. And when you exhale, letting the breath come out of the chest first, then your ribs, then your belly. And now easily let your right arm come out beside you. Float it on up so it's straight out from your shoulder there. And flex your hand. So just feel the underside of the arm there. Just press gently a little bit into the heel of your hand. And then just drape that arm across your chest so that your hand comes like over the top of your left shoulder if you can. So that it's real easy. You feel the weight from the hand there resting, the weight of the arm. And then tilt your head to the right. Let your right ear come towards your right shoulder. Let that weight of the hand there on your left shoulder just help you release the side of the neck here. And slowly start to rise your head on back up. And then unfold that right arm on down beside you. And we're going to bring the left arm out, straight out from the shoulder, and flex your hand a little bit there. If you need to bend your elbow, do it, right? If it feels good to press a little bit into a straighter arm, pressing into the heel of the hand, do. And then just real gently drape your arm across your chest. See if you can let the hand come over the top of the shoulder here. And then feel that weight of your hand as you tilt your head to the left. So you're tilting away from your hand, and you can find a release there. Maybe even up, between the shoulder blades, maybe in the side of your neck. Let the weight of your hand help you find a little more release. And then we'll slowly come on back up, bring our arms down. Let's bring our hands behind us. If you're in the chair, you can just drape your arms over the back. If you're on the floor, you can put your fingertips or go flat onto your hands. And be easy with your neck. If it feels good to look up a little bit or all the way up, do. If your neck is telling you don't do that, then just keep your gaze more forward. And then we'll rise on back up. Bring your chin on down towards your chest here. Let yourself release the head forward a bit. And we'll come on back up from here. And if you're on the floor, you're going to stretch your right leg out. We're going to cross our left ankle either above or below our knee. So if you're on the floor, you can cross below, you can cross above, whatever feels better for your hip. Take your time, flex that left foot there, and ease your way, maybe even if it's just in your mind, to come forward a little bit. Or maybe you prefer to come a little bit further, putting your right hand onto that left foot if you choose, and pressing the left ball of the foot into your hand a little bit. So waking up the left hip as well as opening up, if you're on the floor, the back of that right leg. One more breath. And then we're going to slowly come on back up. Take a nice inhale here. And on the exhale, we'll twist to our left, bringing your right hand over towards that left knee or to the shin if you'd rather, and lengthening upward through the top of your head. Keep flexing the left foot a little bit. You have energy. Same thing with that right foot if you're on the floor. One more inhale. And as you exhale, use your belly to come on back around into center. And we're going to twist the other way. So inhaling here, and on the exhale, let's go the other direction. So the left hand now comes, maybe to your foot, maybe to your ankle or your shin. And that right arm just releases gently to touch the floor if you're on the floor behind you, or draping over the back of your chair. One more inhale. And then on the exhale, make your way back to center. Stay crossed if you can. Bring your arms on up, straight out from your shoulders. And now bring your right arm over your left and give yourself a hug here. Elbows melt down. Now whether you want to head a little towards eagle or half eagle, up to you. Stay hugging, or let yourself just send the backs of the hands towards the midline, or even slide the back of the left hand to the outside of your right elbow. Or come into your wrap if you choose. And then we'll release, unwind our arms and uncross our legs. And we're going to switch to go to the other side. So bringing that right ankle again above or below the knee, getting comfortable there, however you need to be. Flex through that right foot. And again, even if you just think about coming forward with a long back, flex that right foot. You can press the ball of the foot into your left hand there if you choose, just activating a little deeper into your hip. Follow your breath. One more deep, full breath. Inhaling and exhaling. And then when you do come back up, take your time. Let yourself get up nice and tall. Inhaling here. And on the exhale, we'll twist to our right. Left hand can come to that right knee, or again, onto your shin if you'd rather. And lengthen up through the back of the throat here. Feel the top of the head reaching upward. One more inhale. Exhale, come back to stop at center for a second and let yourself regroup here as you inhale. And on the exhale, we'll twist the other way. So bringing yourself on around. And again, just find that sense of the twist in the middle of the back. Think about drawing your low, low belly in. One more inhale. And on the exhale, releasing back around, floating your arms on up, and bringing your left arm on top of your right to give yourself that hug again. Elbows can melt down. You know, you can let your chin come down if you want to. Totally optional. Sending the hands more towards each other, sliding the back of the right hand to the outside of the left elbow, or coming into your wrap. See if you can let your next inhale, imagine it's coming into between the shoulder blades on your back. And And then we'll release and unwind our arms and undo our legs and bring your legs out. So if you're on the floor, separate them just a little bit, kind of like this. Same thing if you're in your chair. And then just let yourself flex and point your feet a little bit. So flexing and pointing, moving through the feet and the ankles here. And of course, feeling the backs of your legs a little bit there. Good. And then we're going to come into a seated forward bend. So everybody on the floor gets to sit however they want. Long-legged, cross-legged, soles of the feet together, whatever you want. And then coming on forward just a little bit from the low back. Now, if you know you like to fold further over, do it. Same thing in your chair. You can reach your hands down to the floor if you're in your chair, or hold onto your ankles or your feet. Just let yourself release, if possible, your jaw. Let your head hang if you can, so your neck is released. Good. One more breath. And now take your time. When you start to head up, let yourself be easy as you come all the way on back up to sitting. And we're going to come on around towards our hands and knees from here. So you know, whether you get down on your knees on the floor or put a blanket under your knees, or if you get your hands up higher like on the seat of the chair so that you're not down on your knees at all. And you can use blocks under your hands too, remember. So take time, find comfort for your wrists, whatever that means. Spread your fingers if you have your hands flat there on the floor. Feel the sense of your inner elbows facing each other. So you're not turning the inner elbows forward, which does quite a number on the shoulders. And then draw up into your cat pose. Draw your navel towards your spine. Feel your tailbone drop down. Let your head hang heavy. And on your next inhale, send your tailbone back and up. Let yourself move back through to either neutral spine or all the way through into cow. Whether you want to look forward or not is up to you. So start to move through those two poses. Now, that doesn't mean you can't stop in one of the poses and stay if you want. So moving at your own pace. And let yourself take your time. Feel that ease of flowing through the spine. Good. And then finish off the one that you're on, or that you're moving into there. And let's come on back to more neutral spine. And we'll step our left foot forward and our right foot back to come into lunge. Hands, whatever height you like. Blocks, the floor, the chair, whatever works. Let yourself align that front knee. Make sure it's not coming out beyond your ankle there. Now imagine reaching back in through that inner right heel. So you get more length on the inside of your right leg, really. Zip up your low belly. And then we're going to switch. Bringing the right foot forward, the left foot back. Again, getting yourself aligned there. You know, you want your feet just the distance apart that feels good to you. That front knee bend really carefully there. And then again, start to imagine reaching into that inner left heel. Engage your belly. Find length through the whole back body if you can. Try to keep the back of your head more in line with your spine rather than lifting your chin up, right? Good. We're going to switch again. So pressing those feet away from each other, if that enables you to want to bring your left hand or both hands up, so either onto your thigh or, you know, maybe some people want to bring their hands to their heart, you can. Or you can keep your hands down. And we're going to switch again. So again, getting established in that lunge and pressing the feet away from each other, engaging more deeply into your hips, and the idea of lifting a hand or hands up, totally optional, totally up to you. And then we'll come on forward from here, coming into standing forward bend. So use whatever support, you know that enables you to be comfortable in your back. And then see if you can shift yourself to lift your heels up a little bit. And then bring the heels back down and lift just your toes up a little bit. And then go back again to shifting forward, heels rising up. You can go up higher if you want with the heels. That's up to you. And then bring the heels back down, lift the toes up. If you want, you can even lift the balls of your feet up. So one more time, coming forward and lifting the heels up. Then you can bend the knees too if you like, really. Just take your time, feel your feet a little bit here. Shift the heels back down, lift up the toes, maybe even the balls of the feet shifting onto your heels. And then come back into center. Let the toes softly come to the floor. Let yourself come on into nice full breaths here. Feeling the ribs expanding in all directions on your inhales. Let your face feel nice and soft. Imagine relaxing your throat. And then from here, we'll bring our hands on up to our hips, bend our knees, and rise up to standing. And inhale our arms all the way out and up. And on the exhale, let our hands come down together in front of our hearts. So spread your fingers wide, bow your head a little bit just to look at your hands. And you might even be able to look beyond your hands and down to your feet for a second. See that you're pretty equal there between the feet and you're not turning the feet out too far or one of them turned out. Try to get parallel. And then look back at your hands and feel the fingers really connecting in your thumbs. Let your next inhale bring your chin back up more parallel to the floor. Finding that length now in the back of your throat. Imagine you're looking out at the horizon, coming into your mountain pose here now, almost feeling like you're part of the space around you. And then we'll unfold our arms on down beside us. And inhale both arms all the way out and up. And on the exhale, bend your knees as you come forward into that standing forward bend. And let your next inhale help you find a nice flat back, wherever you like your hands to go to help you do that. Legs, blocks, chair, floor. And we'll step the right foot back and come into lunge. Throw your shoulders down. Feel that sense again of length in the back body. Inhale. Exhale into downward facing dog pose. So finding your down dog here. Walk if you need to. Really take your time. Turn your head side to side. Whatever helps you get more naturally into feeling your down dog. Right? Even if it's not your favorite pose. Just imagine for a second that you're yawning with your whole body. And you can just let every part of the body feel stretched. And on the next inhale, we'll come out towards a plank. Now, you don't have to go fully into a push-up pose. You can go to forearms. You can put your knees down. You can do little push-ups if you choose to. Find that strength there, the low belly engaging, sit bones reaching down towards your heels. And then we'll come on back into down dog. Really allowing yourself to experience that sense of equality between the sides of your body. And then we'll bring the right foot forward to come into lunge. Now you can put your left knee down to get there. You can get there however you need. And then we'll come back into standing forward bend again. Feet right underneath us, hips distance apart. And then release and breathe. You know, if you like holding your elbows, that's not too much on your back. You can feel a little bit more by bringing your hands to your elbows, or you can keep your hands on blocks or elbows above your knees. Following your breath all the way in and all the way out. And then let's bring our hands back up to our hips. Bend our knees, press into our feet as we rise up. Inhaling the arms all the way out and up. And on our exhale, let our hands come down together in front of our hearts. Let's inhale the hands right up through the midline of the body now. And on the exhale, open the arms like wings as you fold forward. And on your next inhale, find that flat back again. And we'll step left foot back this time, coming into lunge. Press the feet away from each other, engage the belly. Again, feel your whole body in your lunge. Inhale. Exhale into your downward facing dog pose again. So again, take your time. Elbows gently hugging inward. Finding that sense of length through the spine. Opening up the backs of the legs. On your next inhale, come on out to that plank. Or towards it. Again, put knees down if you want. Put forearms onto the surface if you'd like. If you like to do little push-ups, you can bend your elbows. Sometimes just bending your elbows a little bit and letting them come in towards the ribs and staying there. So it's a lot of work there. It's like coming partway through chaturanga, which is coming down from a push-up or up, right? And then we'll come on back into down dog. And from here, left foot will come forward, however it needs to get there. And then we'll come back into standing forward bend. Releasing wherever you can go. Heavy head. Let yourself be with your breaths now, feeling the expansion of the ribs on your inhales. And this time, bend your knees, but let your arms be like wings when you rise up. So they come out beside you. You inhale them out and all the way up overhead. And on the exhale, bring our hands down together in front of our hearts. Let's inhale the hands up just above your head, actually. And then clasp your hands and put them behind your head. So you're just pressing the head gently into your hands. Keep your chin pretty parallel to the floor. So try not to lift the chin up, right? Instead, keep the chin parallel. Feel the belly engaging. Feel your tailbone dropping down. And when you press your head into your hands, you can really feel that engagement in the core of your body. Good. One more breath. And then from here, we're going to stretch the arms back up overhead. Clasp your hands. Send your pointer finger up. One more breath here, hugging your elbows in towards each other. Inhale. And on the exhale, open the arms. Start to fold back into your standing forward bend. And on your next inhale, find that long, flat back. And this time we'll walk into down dog. So you can use your hands on whatever surface height you want to be. Blocks or the chair or the floor. And then we'll come on out towards a plank. It is optional to do a back bend here. So if you like to, you can. You do not have to. You can, if you want, come down, come up into a little cobra. You can come from the plank to an up dog. Or you can do a Sphinx on your forearms. And then we'll come on back into down dog. Take your time, walk a little bit. We're going to do that same thing. Next inhale will bring us out to that plank. Again, you can come down to the floor, come onto your forearms into a Sphinx or into an up dog or a cobra, or no back bend at all. And then we'll come on back again into downward dog. And we'll bring our right foot forward this time. Again, however you need to get it there. Into lunge. And then we'll come on back into standing forward bend. Right where you're comfortable to be. Remember, it's fine to use support. Elbows above the knees, or, if you got that chair there, you can put forearms on it. Even your head sometimes on a chair feels really good. And just breathe. Think soft face. One more nice full deep breath. And then we're going to bend our knees and rise on up to standing and inhale our arms all the way out and up. And on our exhale, let our hands come down together in front of our hearts. Find that mountain pose again here now, whatever you need to do. shifting around, getting really grounded through the feet equally, drawing your thighs gently upward, feeling your tailbone reach down towards between your heels. And just feeling pretty energized as those sun salutations really wake up every part of the body. And then we'll go ahead and release our arms on down. Shake out, move around a little bit if you need to. And we're going to come into some warriors. So if you use your chair, turn it around and let yourself bring your blocks to where they're handy in front of your mat. And we're going to step our right foot back, left foot forward, right foot back, line up our heels, and come into warrior two. So this back foot, remember, about parallel to the back edge, but you can send your heel a little further towards the back of your mat if you feel okay to do that. Bring your hands behind you for a second and let yourself just either hold a wrist, or if you'd like, you can hold your hands back there. Just feel that openness across your chest. Breathing, nice, full breaths. Good, and then release your hands down towards your thighs and inhale your back right arm up and turn to look out over the top of your right back hand there. See if you can let your shoulders soften down. And then we'll start to turn our head back around and start to float that left arm up so you're now looking out over the top of that left hand. Feet gently pressing away from each other on the mat. Feel what that does to the core body. Feeling your hips opening up, the strength of your warrior two. And then let's turn the left palm up. Put your right hand on your right leg. Slide the right hand down a little bit as you reach up towards the sky. Now you can reach a little behind yourself or straight up on this reverse warrior. Inhale into that left side. And on the exhale, we'll come into side angle. So your right hand or forearm onto your thigh or your chair. And you can add that right arm up if your shoulder lets you, into lunge, right? So you're thinking of lengthening through both sides of the body. Let yourself feel your shoulders down away from your ears. We're going to come on back into warrior two from there. Pressing those feet a little bit away from each other, getting you back into core strength. And now put your right hand on your right hip. We're going to straighten the left knee out. And think about reaching forward a little bit with that left hand and then bringing it down for triangles. So it might be that you want to keep it on the back of the chair. You might want to go down to the seat of your chair or to a block or your leg. Right arm can reach straight up, or you can keep the right hand right down on your hip. So feel your thighs gently lifting upward. So it's like you're creating space in your knees. Good, one more breath. We're going to bend the left knee. We're going to come on back into warrior two, pressing those feet away from each other as we come. Good, now we're going to turn into lunge here. So bring your hands down. Maybe you want to use your chair, maybe you want to put blocks underneath your hands. Let yourself find your lunge, reach back through that right inner heel. And then we'll bring our left hand to our left hip and come on into twist here. Should feel like a big relief. Hand can stay on your hip or your back, or you can stretch your arm up if you choose. Just enjoy letting the hip release here. One more breath. And then bring the left hand down. And now just straighten that left knee out. Let the right heel descend towards the mat, but don't bring it in like for pyramid. Let it go straight back. So you're just getting into the back of the legs. And the heel might be on the floor, it might not. It depends on how long your lunge was, right? So just let yourself open up the backs of both legs. Good, and then we'll bend that left knee, and we're going to step forward and get our feet right underneath us into standing forward bend. Full deep breath. See if you can let yourself find those little spaces, those little pauses between your breaths. And just imagine you're letting yourself release even deeper in those little pauses, those little spaces. And then we'll bring our hands on up to our hips, bend our knees, rise up, and inhale our arms all the way out and up. And on our exhale, coming down with the hands in front of your chest, find your mountain pose. Take your time. If you need to shift around a little bit, do it, right? Get centered. Feel a little bit, even more energy now flowing through the body. And then we'll unfold our arms, shake out a little bit because we are going to go the other side. So if you like having that chair, remember, you might want to turn the back of it so it gives you a little support for balance. And then bringing yourself left foot back, right foot forward, and line up those heels as best you can. And get that alignment of that back foot where you feel fine in your knee. Remember, you want your arch to lift up. You don't want to roll to the inside of this foot. You really want to feel the four corners of the foot on the mat. And then bending that left knee. Bring your hands behind you. Again, whether you hold the hands or you hold the wrist, just let yourself open up there. See if you can feel the breath coming into the belly, the ribs, and up into the chest. Good. And then let your hands come down to your thighs. And as you inhale the left arm up, go ahead and look back over it. Let yourself look back. See if you can soften the shoulder down. And then slowly start to turn your head back through center and to look over to the right. So when the right hand comes up there, you can look right out over the top. Feet pressing gently away from each other. Strength in your warrior two. Nice. We're going to turn the right palm up. Left hand comes down. Left hand's going to slide a little farther down your leg as your right hand reaches up. And then take a nice breath in this reverse warrior. Inhaling into the right side. And on your next exhale, come into your side angle. So that left knee stays bent. Whether you put your hand or your forearm down is up to you. And adding that left arm up into line with the left side of the body is optional. You can keep the hand down on your hip. Take your time. Pay attention to your own shoulder. Length through both sides of the body. Good. We're going to come on back into warrior two. Press those feet away from each other. Get you right back into that core strength. And now put your left hand on your left hip. Straighten the right knee out. Both legs are straight. Thighs are lifting up. Right hand reaches forward a little bit. And then it comes down for your triangle pose. So you're lengthening the underside of the body. Whether you put the right hand up higher or down lower doesn't matter. Left shoulder draws up if you want. You can lift the left arm up. But if that hurts your shoulder in any way, just keep your hand down. Feel those thighs engaging upward as you lengthen through both sides of the body. Make sure your neck's okay. You can always look down at your right foot. You can look forward or you can look up. One more breath. And then we're going to bend that right knee. We're going to come on back into warrior two. Press those feet away from each other. Now to find your way to lunge, as you bring your hands down, you can kind of really decide. Do you want to use blocks? Do you want to use the chair? You can be up on the back of the chair if you want to be. You can go down to the seat. You can go down to blocks. And then we're going to add that little twist, remember. Bringing the right hand to the right hip. Turning into twist here. Hand on the low back. Or reaching that arm up if you choose. Take your time. Let it feel really good. Nice. And then come on back down with your hand. And we're going to straighten that front knee out. So again, you're just letting that front leg come straight and the left heel just descends directly back behind your foot. So you get a little more into the backs of the legs. Good. One more breath. And then we're going to bend the front knee. We're going to step forward to get our feet right underneath us. And come into your standing forward bend here with whatever support you like. Let your head feel heavy if you can. Remember, you just got to pay attention to your own back. Feel your sitting bones right over your heels so you can get that sense of really allowing the backs of the legs to very naturally open up. might even want to slip your fingers under your toes if you've got your hands down there and can do it. Another thing you can do is lift your feet up and slip your hands under your feet with the palms facing up. And then your toes can kind of press into the heels of your hands and give you a massage. Your feet can give your hands a little massage. All optional, obviously. So let's release and let ourselves come on back to hands up to our hips and bend our knees and rise on up to standing. And inhale our arms all the way out and up. And let your exhale bring your hands down really gently. Let them come just to that easy place where you feel so entirely at ease in your shoulders. You come into mountain pose and feel like almost like you could stand here forever because it's effortless almost. And then we'll unfold our arms on down beside us and shake out a little bit. Today we are going to bring our mats to a wall now, and as you do, bring your blocks with you. And I don't think anybody will want like a chair for this, but if you do, you can use it. But have your blocks, and so when your mat is short edge to the wall, I'm going to leave mine here because of having to move it back and forth, but let yourself step away from the wall and let your feet come wider than your mat, right? So how much wider is going to be up to you, because we're going to bring our hands down to the blocks, or if you want, you can put a chair there, right? And at home, you don't have to have a wall, right? It's just kind of different feeling for a wide-legged forward bend. Once you get here, if you're like, well, I think I can put my heels closer, or even all the way to the wall. Now be really careful with this, because this really deepens this pose, just warning you, okay? So once you're here, if your bottom is into the wall and your heels are into the wall, it's a really different feeling than when you're standing at center. You don't realize how much you might shift back with your hips, right? So take your time, bend a knee at a time if that's good for you. If not, this is a different feeling too. When you're at the wall like this, you can bend one knee at a time. Sometimes it makes you feel like, oh, I want my feet farther apart even, or maybe not so far, or, you know. Take your time. Now, if you want to go lower on your blocks, you can lower the blocks. Maybe even get out of your hands and come down to your forearms. But if you're doing that, be really mindful. I'm telling you, it is deeper than when you're standing in the center of the room. So be easy. Imagine your inner thighs are reaching towards the wall, and your outer thighs are too, so that you know you're really feeling your legs equal here. Now, if you want to walk over to one side, you can. You can bring your hands or the blocks to one side. You can walk towards your foot like we do. But, again, be mindful. You do not want to fall forward onto your face. Just saying. And then come on back through center and go over to the other side. Again, you don't have to go far. Give yourself enough support. And then come on back into center again. And just be with your breath for a couple more breaths. And if you can get out of your hands, do, just so that you can really release here. And breathe. Good. One more breath. And now, we're going to come out. So to come out of this, you might want to walk your hands out and then bring your feet a little more away from the wall before you come up. Just because otherwise, you know what hits the wall when you come out. And then bring your, it's a lot deeper than the pose that we do in the middle of the floor. So take your time, move through your feet a little bit. And then bring a block, turn your right shoulder to the wall. You just need one block for this. And bring a block, any height you want. I'm going to put mine at the lowest, between your right foot and the wall. We're going to do a little eagle work. So standing on your right foot, now you may decide that all you want to do is put your left foot on that block. Cross your left thigh on top. And maybe not even bend your knee at all, right? So if you have knee issues, bending that knee and sitting like you're coming into chair pose, right? Very intense in your knees, but also very strengthening for the knees and the hips. And if your toes on the block, then you have that stability at least. And you feel like you can keep your knee lined up, right? You can even bring your hands to your heart if you want. Or you can bring your right arm on top of your left and come into hugging or wrapping. And if you feel like you want to try to balance, you can move the block or just pick your toes up off the block and see if you can balance a little bit with the toes not touching. Good. And then we're going to slowly come up out of that, and we're going to turn around. So you're standing on your left foot. Again, this is all up to you. Bringing that right foot over. If you don't want to bend the left knee hardly at all, you can just practice bringing your hands to your heart and work a little. This gets into the outside of that left leg, mind you. And of course, if you want to bend your knee and send your hips back, whether you bring your foot to the block or decide to do a little bit of eagle work with your arms, left over right, hugging or wrapping. And then, of course, if you want to try a little bit of flexing the toes off the block or engaging a little bit that way, just be mindful. Again, very strengthening in the hips, in the thighs. Good. And then come on back up out of that. Move your block out of the way for a second. We're going to face the wall. And get really close to the wall so that you're going to reach your right arm straight out from your shoulder. Fingertips and tips of your thumb are on the wall. And it's just right out from your shoulder. Put your left hand on your left hip. And then start to turn the whole body to the left, away from that arm. Now, it might be you don't go very far. You're opening right across the right side of your chest. Feel the fingertips pressing gently into the wall. And don't go too far. I mean, it's pretty intense, actually. And if you can rise that right hand up a little bit higher, do. Kind of like you're going up a clock face. And then see if you can go up a little higher. And then see if you can turn all the way sideways to the wall and let the arm be right up overhead, but the fingertips and tips of the thumbs are still touching the wall. Good. And then we're going to turn back to face the wall. Lower that right arm all the way down. Bring your left hand out to the wall. Fingertips, tips of the thumb on the wall, remember. So you're not on your palms. Press in. Start to turn away. Right hand on the hip just to give you a little bit there of just being able to release over. And again, press into the wall. Maybe even imagine you're dragging down a little bit. But again, it's intense stretch, so don't go too far. If you can bring the hand up just a little bit, like you're going up that clock face, do. You can head on up again to another little increment. When you're ready to come all the way sideways, when you feel like, oh, well, I've gone almost all the way, and you want to turn sideways, just see if you can. Turn with the fingertips all the way up above your shoulder and release there. Nice. And then we're going to let our arms come down. Turn to face the wall here. And let yourself send your belly to the wall. Let your hands come behind you. Interlace your fingers. And then bring your head just a little off the wall. Actually, let's do this. Take your hands down and then bring your hands up and clasp them at the back of your head. Like we did when we were standing earlier. Put your forehead on the wall for a second. And then press your head into your hands so that forehead comes away from the wall. Reach your tailbone down towards between your heels. So you're engaging your belly, but try not to tuck your tailbone forward. And then here's a little bit of a back bend here. You have to keep the belly engaged and feel the tailbone dropping down. But you can go just a little bit, or you can go a little bit further, feeling the head pressing into your hands. One more breath. And then bring the head back to the wall. Bring your hands just chest level onto the wall. Spread your fingers. And then walk your feet back, and we're going to come in towards a down dog at the wall, like we're coming into the shape of a capital letter L. So take your time, just ease your way, bend your knees if you need to, and check out your hands if you want, so that you don't have one hand higher than the other, which is pretty easy to do. And let yourself spread your fingers, hug your elbows towards each other. And just enjoy that great length through both sides of the body. Nice. You can always, again, bend your knees if you need. Reach back through your sit bones and your tailbone. One more breath. Nice. And then walk on back in towards the wall. And let your arms swing around a little bit. Swing them back and forth. And now come away from the wall so you're not going to hit it. And let yourself swing the arms from side to side. So really this is a momentum that starts, that the arms just naturally want to wrap around your body. So just let yourself feel that momentum of a swing. You're not placing the arms, you're just letting them, once they start that, they just continue to easily come side to side. Good. And then we'll come back into center. And we're going to come down onto our bellies, onto our mats on the floor. So take your time, come on down, and be mindful of getting yourself comfortable. So, if it's too much for you to put your head on your hands stacked up, don't do it. Put your head on the floor if you'd rather. Let yourself feel your feet, tops of the feet just releasing into the ground. Don't push. Just let the heels do what they want to relax your legs. So maybe they want to hike outward, maybe they want to hike inward. It depends on how you're built. And just breathe. Nice, easy breaths. Good. And then release your arms, stretch your arms up into a wide V, like you're reaching towards the corners of your mat, right? And let your forehead come on back down to the floor. And then inhale anything you can up off the ground. And it doesn't have to be high. Hands can barely come up, head barely up, legs barely up a little bit. Keep your gaze down so you're not tensing up your neck. And then let everything release back down. Now, come into your elbows being under your shoulders into a little Sphinx Pose. So you know if it's too high for you to have your elbows under your shoulders, you can bring yourself down by sending elbows forward or even back, right? So be where you can. Bring your gaze there towards the front of your mat a little bit. Ease the back of the neck and throat. And then bring your hands together and interlace your fingers. Clasp your hands, send your pinky out. Now you always do this the same way. Everybody does. So look and see what thumb you have on top. And then uncross and go the other way. So your other thumb is on top and you're interlaced the other way. And then send your pinky finger out again. Press down into your forearms. Now you can bend your knees and lift up to a half forearm plank here, hugging the elbows towards each other. Or you can put your toes down and lift your knees up and come into a full forearm plank. So if you do one of those and it feels like too much, come down and rest if you need. See if you can let yourself find that strength, sit bones reaching down towards your knees. Belly engaged, zip up that low belly. And then we're going to come on back down again. And rest again with your forehead on your hands. Bend your knees and let your feet circle around. Circle in both directions. Good. And then let your lower legs come from one side to another like windshield wiper blades. If that hurts your back, don't do it. We're going to come on back down with our legs. We're going to come on back onto our forearms again. This time, interlace your fingers the way they naturally want to go. And again, you can lift up to the half plank. the full forearm plank, or you can, if any of you want to bring your knees up and come up into a dolphin pose, you can. If your shoulders allow you, elbows hug in, right? So you find what works for you and your shoulders. One more breath. And now we're going to come down from where we were, and everybody's going to find their way into child's pose from here. So letting yourself bring your big toes together, separate knees as much as feels good. And of course, let your arms go where it feels really releasing for your shoulders. So, if you need to be forward on your forearms, do. You can still release there. Find some release in the hips and the back. Just breathe into your low back. Good, and then come up enough to where you can now thread the needle with your right arm coming through, right? So as you do, you can either, as you come down towards the right side of your head being on the floor, you can put your left hand underneath your head so you're up a little higher. You can also be more forward so you're not back so much with your hips, right? But trying to release here into the shoulders. And then we'll come on back up. So take your time, let your left hand help you press up. And then we'll thread the needle with that left arm. Now, whether you turn your left palm up or down is up to you. Now, this right arm can stretch overhead, or again, you can put the hand under your head. And you can be forward if you need to be, right? With the hips up off the heels. So it's different for everybody. Just be mindful of your own knees. Releasing into the shoulders. One more breath. And then let your right hand come back to help you press on up. Let's come on forward and then just turn around to sit down. And bring your legs on around in front of you. Stretch your legs out. We're going to do a little bit of boat pose. So, if you want to sit up on something for boat pose, do. Just for fun, though, grab a block. You might not consider this so much fun, but now, you might just be happy to put the block between your thighs, right below your knees, or try not to push the bones of your knees into the block, so let it be a little bit higher. And you can put your hands behind you, and you can squeeze into that block. So you can imagine that you're kind of feeding the block that way, downward, right, and towards your feet a little bit. And you can engage your belly here. Now, to do a boat pose with this between your thighs is hard. You can let yourself lift the feet up, squeeze that block a little bit, and think about, again, feeding the block that way. If it bothers your back, don't do it. Come out of it. Just don't do it. Put your hands back there, give you some support. If you squeeze into the block, you're still getting some action there, right? If you're like, oh, I hate this, then come down, take the block out. Right? And then try your boat pose again. Maybe it feels easier. Maybe it feels better. Maybe you're like, oh, no, it really doesn't. So just play. All right? Stretch your legs out if you want. Let go or don't let go. Hold on to your legs if you want. Pull yourself in towards them if that feels good. So you're finding that length. Good, nice. So just play with it. And then, what really feels good after boat pose is to bring the soles of the feet towards each other and let yourself come into maybe a little bit of forward movement, maybe not, but just letting the hips release to sit up tall feels good after that. Or coming forward. And, if it feels so much better to you to have this broader space in here by sending your feet forward, do. If you feel better to pull your feet in towards you, do. And we're all different. So you have to just find your way. Remember, we're trying to find a sense of release in our hips. So if you're like feeling like that you're tensing, sometimes putting those blocks underneath like this, your legs, can help you feel more of a release than if you're working too hard, right? So if you feel like supporting yourself and letting yourself come a little bit forward or staying up tall like this with the blocks, sometimes it enables you to let go a little deeper. So again, we're all different. You go where you can. Let yourself try to release your neck and your jaw and your face. And give your body time to appreciate the pose. Good. One more breath. And now we're going to slowly let ourselves come up. You can use your hands if you want to lift your knees up. Stretch your legs on out, shake them out a little bit. And we're going to come on down onto our backs on the floor now. So just be mindful. Come on down. Let yourself bring your knees in towards your chest. Let them come side to side if that feels good. You know, maybe you feel like you want to stretch out a little bit with your arms. Just move however feels good. Let your back feel good. And then put your feet back onto the floor. Bring your arms overhead and let your right hand encircle your left wrist. Yeah? And see if you can then just pull up a little bit. Your right hand pulls your left wrist higher. Well, on the floor, right over your head. Just see if you can find a little more on the side of the body there. And then release, switch. Let the left hand now hold the right wrist and just pull like you're pulling your hand away from your head. Nice side body here. And then let your elbows release and then release your arms down alongside your body here. We're going to bring the right knee on into the chest. Bring your left hand over to that right knee. And now, keep your left knee, your left foot's on the floor still, okay? Just try this. Start to bring the right knee over to the left for a twist. With the left knee bent, right? Which is a different feeling than extending that leg out long. So you can either put your right foot kind of to the inside of your left thigh, or you can put the right foot over onto the floor. You know, that is totally up to you. Let it feel where it feels good. And let your right shoulder just release down towards the floor. One more breath. And now come back to center. Let go of your knee. Let your knee come on back up to the top. Bring your left knee in. Stay there for a second with both knees. Kind of hug them in a second. And then put your right foot on the floor. Bring your right hand over to your left knee. And then stretch your right arm out beside you and start to bring your knees over to the right. And again, you know, how far you go. You can decide to keep that left foot on top of the right leg, thigh or knee, or you can put the foot to the floor. Good. One more breath. And now again, when you start to come up, you'll have to use your belly to do that. Let go. Bring both knees on in. Send your feet up into the little happy baby pose, whether you decide you want to reach up to get your feet or have your hands around the back of your legs, or, you know, you just adjust. Do what feels good. Start to listen to what your body really wants you to do, right? So without thinking too much about it, let your body kind of take over right now. Any kind of movement that you feel like you want to do, it can be a yoga pose, it doesn't need to be. Let yourself just take a little bit of time here to feel what your body wants. I mean, you might need a little more of a hip opener, you might need to do a bridge pose, you might need another form of a twist. Just same at home. Take your time. I'm going to start to get some lights out here at the studio, but that doesn't mean you need to rush. And remember, if you need something for support, at home, blankets, or maybe you want to cover up with a blanket. Maybe it sounds like a good idea to have a little bit of a blanket under the back of your head. Same thing here in the studio. We'll start to get bolsters and whatever else you might need. It's chilly out this morning. I'd be happy to bring you blankets for cover, for feet. Just start to allow yourself to release now onto the floor. Letting your arms and legs find a very good place to be to release your shoulders and your hips. And just accept your breaths now. Nothing you need to do in order to breathe. If you try to stop, you just pass out and keep breathing, right? So just let yourself receive both your inhales and your exhales. If it helps you to count your breaths or to think a word, when you inhale a different word, when you exhale, if that helps you refocus more easily to your breath, you can choose to do that. As your body and your brain start to relax with the breath, just give yourself the gift of a few minutes here, finding those little quiet places where you can benefit from all you just did, and let yourself completely and fully relax. starts to refresh you, you feel like moving again, let your fingers, your toes, your hands, your feet lead you into moving. You know, move into your arms and legs however you can, stretching or bending. You know, if you feel like rolling onto either side, letting your knees be soft in a fetal position, you can do that. Just give yourself time here to allow your body and your brain to have a little adjustment time, however you need to do that. So that when you are ready to come up to sitting, it feels okay just to float your way up. And again, get your head above your heart, get yourself seated comfortably, let your eyes close, be with your breath. And on your next exhale, letting your hands come gently together there in front of your chest. And wishing each one of you a very joyful day. Namaste.
Namaste.
Happy Thursday.
Wonderful class.
That's good. Thank you, Kaye.
Thank you all.